First of all, I want to thank all of you for coming today and helping us get the word out to the citizens of St. Bernard Parish. I want to thank our employees and the citizens of St. Bernard for their Herculean effort over the last 2 days in making sure that we are prepared for Hurricane Sally. A lot has happened over the last couple of days. A lot is going to happen over the next couple of days. And we have with us here today Sheriff James Pullman, our Homeland Security Director John Ram, and a representative for Southeast Levee Protection Authority, Ryan Foster. I'm going to have them come up and talk about everything that they have going on, and that way we're not double talking and I can scratch some of those things off of my list. So without wasting any time, we'll call up our Sheriff, James Pullman.
Thank you, Guy. Imagine a politician not double talking. Well, good evening, and thank you guys for coming. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on the law enforcement side here in St. Bernard Parish. As we all know, over the past 12 hours, things can change rather quickly, and they have been. Right now, our biggest concern with the latest track is continuing to fight the coastal flooding outside our levee protection system. Currently on LA 39 South, the gate is closed. Also on Bayou Road in Barrett, and now on Highway LA 46 in Barrett is also closed. We have all those locations stationed with sheriff's deputies. We're monitoring the traffic on the access road. Currently, outside the levee protection system, we have several highways that have water on it. Going down through Florissant, Hopedale, and Waclosky, all roads have standing water. However, they are currently passable, but we think throughout the night and early morning hours, particularly those roads, won't be passable. Then we have on the Delacroix side, that highway is open, wide open, all the way down with no problems with any water, but we also expect overnight and into tomorrow morning that highway to be also flooded. We'll continue to monitor people's access down across that access road to get into the eastern part of the parish outside the levee protection system. But simply, if you don't have any business there, we're not going to let you go down there, particularly if it becomes too dangerous to pass. So we have high water vehicles that continue to go and patrol those areas, and we'll continue to do that as long as we can do that safely. So looking at what's going on inside the levee protection system, we have plenty of sheriff's deputies out working, anticipating some rainfall issues that we may have. It might be less likely with the new track that came out, but however, we can continue our patrols over the next several days. In the event that we do have high water, that we know the areas that are known to flood, we have barricades ready to go to block those streets off. If we have even more excess rain in those areas where we have localized street flooding, we're going to ask everybody just simply stay home. If you have no business, you didn't do your business by now, try to get it done early as you can. If not, just stay home if you don't have any business out there. What we don't want is anybody out there, particularly some knucklehead driving fast down a flooded street and pushing water inside of our residents' homes. I can tell you the Sheriff's Office is simply not going to tolerate that. We will follow up those calls and we will issue summons if we need to. But I think we are going to be okay with this event. The Sheriff's Department's been working closely with Parish Government and the Parish Council and the Office of Homeland Security and the Fire Department to make sure that we can maintain safety throughout this event. And again, just try to stay safe and stay home. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, folks. I'm sure most of you have been watching the news off and on all day, watching the storm. And with each passing update, you breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief because it keeps tracking a little bit further east, which is good for us. We don't wish it on anybody, but you know, it is what it is, and they'll make the best of it as we will. The only concern we have right now is that this storm is moving so slow at about 6 miles an hour right now, and is getting so close to the coast, it could take a jog to the west. Now, I don't want to say that, you know, too much, but you need to be weather aware, watch what's happening, stay tuned to the news and to your local officials. Currently, there are hurricane force winds mainly to the east of the storm, very little, if any, to the west of the storm, which is the side we're on right now. With the slow movement and the way the wind is blowing right now, there's a lot of water being pushed up down the road outside of the levee system. As the sheriff was talking about the road down to Waclosky and Waclosky and Hopedale and Shell Beach is impassable. We do have people out there monitoring, as he said. National Guard is down with their high water vehicles and rescue vehicles if necessary. So we want you to make sure you pay attention to the news overnight because it's moving very slow. It'll be a prolonged wind experience for the next day or so. Continue to push water up outside the levee system. Inside, we don't see any issues except for maybe some rain, which right now the rain bands are also concentrated on the north and east side of the storm, which is the worst side of the storm. So we're looking for it to, keep moving further east. That's good for us. We have our EOC fully staffed right now. We have some Corps of Engineer people in there, State Police, National Guard, Sheriff, just to make sure if anything happens overnight, we're there to respond as quickly as possible to ensure the safety of our residents. If you have any questions, please call us right now. We're here all night long. The phones will be on, waiting for residents to call, and hopefully nothing happens. Have a good night and stay tuned to the weather and take care of yourselves.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me this afternoon. I'd like to thank St. Bernard Parish for also having me. Just to give you a quick update on the Flood Protection Authority preparations for the storm. We have been preparing for this storm since last week. Throughout the authority, that's East Jefferson, Orleans, and St. Bernard, we have closed 58 land-based gates as of yesterday and an additional 36 gates today. In addition to that, we have closed Bayou Bienvenue, Dupree, and Carnarvon sector gates, and the GIWW surge barrier, and also the Seabrook complex have been closed. The entire system in St. Bernard Parish is, as of 4 p.m., locked down in preparation for this storm event. In addition to that, we have monitored and patrolled all 56 miles of the interior drainage canals, and our pump stations will be manned 24 hours for the duration of the event. Once the storm threat has passed, we will get out there to assess the system, start reopening the gates, and get everything back to normal. We exercise yearly for storm events, and in fact, the majority of the gates we are operating yesterday and today, we also operated 3 weeks ago for the Marco and Laura threat. So, once again, thank you for having me. If anybody has any questions for myself or anybody else, please feel free.
We'll take that. Thank you. Let me go over some things that we might have never covered there. And guys, thank you all so much. The professionalism and the dedication to the citizens of St. Bernard Parish are blessed to have you guys in charge. I do want to say, while saying that we have been in constant communication and cooperation with our council. All of our council members have been out in the neighborhoods and in their districts and sending in the various types of things that we need to do to protect their citizens. I want to thank them. I want to thank our governor. We spoke on the phone today about the 31 hours we're about to experience and the easterly winds and pushing water and piling water up into St. Bernard Parish. Talked to Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, Congressman Steve Scalise, Senator John Bowie. We want to thank everyone from GOSEP and all of those guys for what they do for the citizens here in St. Bernard Parish. Our EOC was activated at 6 a.m. this morning for Hurricane Sally. The center is now 105 miles east of the mouth of the Mississippi River, moving northwest at 6 miles per hour. I want to stop right there. The storm has not turned yet, right? All of the tracks having it going a little bit more east, but it hasn't made the turn yet. So the gentleman you see behind me, all of the employees that are out in the field, and your parish president, your governor, we're going to continue to prepare for the worst here in St. Bernard Parish and make sure that we do all the things that are necessary if that storm, which is a 2, and possibly going to turn into a Hurricane 3 before it makes landfall. So we're going to do everything we can. We want our citizens to stay vigilant, to stay tuned to the media, stay tuned to St. Bernard Parish websites, our Facebook and Twitter, to make sure that you can protect your family and you have all the information that you need to make sure you can do that. Right now, the current maximum sustained winds are 100 miles per hour with higher gusts. The pressure is 987, 7 to 11 feet of storm surge. It's something that we're trying to monitor and continually check You know, how does the storm surge stay at 7 to 11 when it went from a 1 to a 2 to a possibly a 3? We're asking all of those questions. The governor is looking into that for us right now. Tropical storm conditions are likely to begin later today and this evening and into tomorrow morning. Hurricane conditions are expected tonight with the hurricane warning area in southeastern Louisiana. All of the sector gates have been closed in St. Bernard Parish. Our residents are asked to seek safety inside of the levee protection system. Continue to monitor the rising water in the eastern end of our parish. The Florissant Rock Dam and the Reggio Rock Dam is in place at this time. Boats, campers, trailers, etc., should be placed on the westbound lane of Highway 46. We want to thank all of our commercial fishermen and our recreational fishermen for adhering to keeping all of that in the westbound lane. So thank you so much for doing that. Our Entergy crews will be on standby in anticipation for down power lines and power outages. Our transfer stations on Parish Road and East Judge Perez will be closed tomorrow. Residents are asked to clean catch basins, pick up debris, tree limbs, and patio furniture until they can no longer do that. Secure our new home construction sites. We have been on the phone for the last 2 days talking to contractors to make sure that they pick up their sites. So if residents see that they are not, please call 504-278-4200 if you need information or you need to give us some information. Our internal and external pumps operated by St. Bernard Parish government. We have 11 on the outside of the levee system, 7 on the inside of the levee system, and they are all 100% operational. Lake Borgne Levee, 8 pumping stations are 100% operational. Closed tomorrow will be all of the essential government offices, St. Bernard Parish Public Schools, Nunez Community College, and our courthouse. River Birch will be closed Tuesday, so no garbage pickup on Tuesday. Please secure your garbage cans. If we have emergencies, whether it's down trees or water main breaks, please call our emergency line at 504-271-1681. Please stay tuned to all SBPG social media sites, press releases, our local access channel, and your local news. So we want to make sure that the citizens of St. Bernard Parish do not let your guard down. We can watch the weather stations and we can watch the media, and we see this track going toward Mississippi and turning. Remember, it hasn't turned yet. Know that we are prepared. Know that you have implemented your plan, and whatever happens and whatever comes with Sally, we can handle it and we will get back up and going, and your parish services will be up and going as soon as possible. So I want to thank the citizens of St. Bernard Parish. I want to thank everyone who is assisting in St. Bernard, and God bless our citizens and everyone who is making this happen. We will take questions at this time. No questions?
When do you expect the highways to be impassable? The Florissant Highway, Delaware Highway, those that are in the eastern end of the parish?
Want to take this?
Well, it's coming up pretty fast on the Florissant Waclowski side, so I'm going to guess, overnight it probably is going to become impassable. Delacroix usually follows that, sometimes 12 to 24 hours later. But we'll monitor it. We'll continue to push that information out. But, by now, you shouldn't even have to go down there. In the reality, I have deputies down there that's patrolling that area, keeping that area safe. It looks like they got most everything out of there that they need to get out of there, the patrols that I made personally down there today. Unless you have a really good reason to go down there, particularly tonight and until tomorrow, we'll monitor that pretty closely.
Do you expect the water to remain on the highways unusually longer simply because it's such a slow-moving storm?
You know, I'm gonna let one of these experts answer that one, but yes.
Okay, once the water gets pushed in, as it has been for the past several hours today, it will remain high until there's a break in the wind to let it flow back out. So as long as the wind keeps pushing in from the direction it's coming right now, it'll remain high and just keep getting higher until the point where the wind is no longer a factor in pushing the water into the lower St. Bernard area. At that time, it should start receding.
What is your estimate as to how long that will be?
Well, according to what the National Weather Service has given us as far as the storm, we're going to have these prolonged winds over the next 31 to 36 hours. So at least that long, the water will stay up. And then you've also got to figure in high tide to determine when you think the water is going to start going back out. So we're given at least 36 hours or longer before the water starts receding in lower St. Bernard.
The bulk of the parish lives, I guess, west of Levee, west of Floyd. What's the biggest concern for people living in like Charlotte and Araby right now? Is it power outages, or is it just kind of sit still and ride this out in case of jobs back west?
Right. Right now, we're asking people to shelter in place. Don't go out unless you have to. As was said earlier, the winds will be beginning to pick up tonight, overnight, and into tomorrow, and lasting for quite a while. So if you don't have to go out, don't do it. Stay home. And power outages are the biggest concern right now. Now, I was on the phone with the Weather Service several times today, and from the way the storm is wrapped, you have very little, if any, hurricane-force winds to the west of the eye. The majority is to the east and to the north. However, as the president said, it hasn't made its turn yet. It could still keep coming towards us and maybe make a later turn or maybe not turn at all. So that's why we've got to look at that and tell people, you know, watch what's going on, use a trusted source for your decision-making, and, you know, just do what you have to do to stay safe. And stay inside unless you have to get out. But power outages is our biggest concern inside the levee system.
I just want to follow up a little bit on that, Paul. You know, that is the conversation we had with the governor and the staff at CPRA in putting these models in on the flooding. You know, we've seen this storm go from a 1 to a 2, and now possibly a 3 before it hits, and the storm surge has stayed at 7 to 11 feet. So, you know, we're understanding, they're looking into that. We're understanding it takes a very long time, a few hours, to put data in to some of these models on the storm surge. So this eye is jogging a little bit, and it's slow moving, so it's difficult for them to gauge that. And that's exactly what we were talking about. We're going to see in excess of 31 hours of continuous pushing of water into our system, all the way into Lake Pontchartrain, Lake Bourne, and that water's going to start stacking up sooner or later, right? We've witnessed this for Cristobal, and we've witnessed this really, you know, forever. But now that we have these storm surge system, the $14 billion wall, and we have the rock dam just south of Hopedale and Bayou-Lutra, that water sits in there now, longer than it ever did before. And sometimes these things come in different ways, and the water acts a little differently. But it's so important for us to monitor that and study that, because there are some unattended consequences of building that rock dam and building this wall, right, which protects us for our future. But we have to look at how we can correct this going forward, and we've been working with the governor's office and CPRA to do just that. No other questions? Thank you guys so much for getting the word out to our citizens. Thank you.